Monique and Spencer Tepe were married in Columbus, Ohio in 2020. On December 30th, 2025, they were found dead inside their home. Their children were down the hall. 24 days before the murders, someone was already at their house. He came at night. He used the alley behind the Weinland Park property. He approached the rear of the building, stayed, and left without being seen. Monique and Spencer were out of town. They had no idea. The camera recorded everything, and for 24 days, nobody looked at it. Before you can understand what that footage means and who that figure was, you need to know who Monique and Spencer Tepe were, because that is the only way the rest of this makes any sense. Monique Tepe was born on October 14, 1986, in Chicago, Illinois. She was 1 year old when her family relocated to Worthington, Ohio, a quiet suburb north of Columbus, and it was there that she grew up. She was the kind of child who filled her time completely: soccer, running, horses, books. Those around her describe a girl who was curious and grounded in equal measure. Someone who moved through the world with a sense of purpose that felt natural rather than performed. She took that purpose with her to Ohio State University, where she pursued a master's degree in early childhood education. The choice said something about who she was. She wasn't drawn to the dramatic or the high profile. She was drawn to the foundation, to the years of a child's life that shape everything that comes after. Friends who knew her during those years describe a woman who was warm and unhurried, someone who listened more than she spoke and meant what she said when she did. After Ohio State, Monique built a life that reflected exactly what she valued. She settled in Columbus. She worked. She read. She baked. She played board games. She was, by all accounts, someone who found genuine satisfaction in the ordinary rhythms of a life well lived, rather than in the pursuit of something more visible or impressive. Her friends knew her as Mo. They describe a homebody in the best possible sense, someone for whom home was not a limitation but a choice. Spencer Tepe was born on December 9, 1988, in Cincinnati, Ohio. He also found his way to Ohio State, where he completed both his undergraduate degree and his Doctor of Dental Surgery. He became a dentist and built his practice in Athens, Ohio, a college town in the southeastern part of the state, the kind of place where a person can put down roots and actually feel them take hold. Spencer was not someone who kept still. He was fluent in Spanish. He played soccer and golf competitively. He was a devoted supporter of Liverpool Football Club and the kind of fan who followed the game closely enough to have opinions worth arguing about. At parties, he played DJ. On weekends, alongside his professional work, he served as a youth mentor. His sister Madeleine Misla, a fashion designer, described him in terms that came up again and again among the people who knew him. He was always doing more, she said, always pushing the limit. His cousin Audrey Mackey, who was close to both Spencer and Monique, remembers the early days of their relationship with a clarity that speaks to how it must have looked from the outside. Monique and Spencer met online in 2018. They were both in their early 30s, both Ohio-raised, both settled enough to know what they were looking for and open enough to find it somewhere unexpected. I remember Monique telling me, Audrey recalled, that on one of their first dates, they just talked all night and couldn't take their eyes off of each other. They married in 2020. They settled into a home in the Weinland Park neighborhood of Columbus, a house they chose together, in a neighborhood they made their own. In 2022, their daughter Amelia was born. In 2024, their son Beckham arrived. Monique stepped back from her career to be at home with the children. It was not a sacrifice in the way that word is usually meant. It was a decision that aligned with everything she had always valued: presence, consistency, the quiet work of raising small people with care. By December 2025, Monique and Spencer Tepe had been married for 5 years. Their 5th wedding anniversary had passed just 2 weeks before the end of the month. They had a 3-year-old daughter who loved fashion shows and a 17-month-old son who was still learning to move through the world on his own terms. They had a home. They had each other. They had, by every account that exists of them, exactly the life they had built on purpose. On Christmas evening, December 25th, 2025, 4 days before the end of everything, the Tepe family was at Spencer's parents' home in Mason, Ohio. Amelia was wearing a pink gown with ivory trim, custom-made by her Aunt Madeline, who had sewn it specifically for her niece. Amelia held a fashion show in her grandparents' living room. Monique and Spencer watched. Spencer's brother-in-law, Rob Misla, was there. After the children were settled and the day wound down, Rob and Spencer stayed up late playing pool in the basement. "Neither of us wanted to go to sleep," Rob recalled later. "I hate to say that was the last real bro time I had with him." When the Tepes left for home on December 27th, Rob was asleep. He didn't get to say goodbye. That detail has stayed with him. 2 weeks after their 5th anniversary, 3 days after Christmas, the home Monique and Spencer had built together in Weinland Park would be sealed off with crime tape. On the morning of December 30th, 2025, Spencer Tepe did not arrive for work. This was not the kind of thing that went unnoticed. Spencer was reliable. His colleagues knew his patterns. When he didn't show and couldn't be reached, when Monique couldn't be reached either. Concern moved quickly through the people who knew them. At 8:58 in the morning, Spencer's employer, who was away on vacation, contacted the Columbus Police Department. Staff had reported that Spencer had not come in. No one had been able to reach him or Monique. A welfare check was requested. An officer was dispatched at 9:10 a.m. He arrived 5 minutes later at 9:15. He went to the wrong address. He knocked, no one answered. He left. That detail requires no embellishment. An officer was sent to check on people who were already dead inside their home. He knocked on the wrong door. He left. At 9:56 a.m., 41 minutes after that first officer departed, a man who had gone to the correct address called the police. He could hear children crying inside the house. He could not get in. 2 minutes later, at 9:58, a female coworker who was driving to the residence called 911 to report the same concern. She was still on her way. At 10:03 a.m., a 911 caller reported that someone had managed to enter the house. What they found inside ended any remaining uncertainty. "There's a body," the caller told the dispatcher. "There's blood. He's lying next to his bed." Police were dispatched again at 10:04. They arrived and located Spencer, 37, and Monique, 39. Both were deceased. At 10:11 a.m., Columbus Fire Department Medic 7 formally pronounced them dead. The house told investigators almost nothing about how it had happened. There were no signs of forced entry anywhere. No broken windows, no damaged locks, no indication that anyone had come through the home by force. There was no firearm at the scene. There were no signs of robbery. Nothing appeared to have been taken. 3 spent 9mm casings were collected from the floor. That was what remained of whatever had happened in the hours before anyone came looking. The absence of forced entry was not a minor detail. It meant whoever had entered that house either had a key or had found another way that left no trace. It meant the front door, the back door, every point of entry had been secured from the outside after the fact, or had never been breached at all. The house had been locked. The children were inside. And 2 people who had been alive and healthy on Christmas evening were now dead on the floor of their bedroom. The children had their own rooms, just a few feet down the hall. Amelia and Beckham were unharmed. But they had been inside that house since the night before, and no one had come. Rob Misla, Spencer's brother-in-law, would say later what investigators already understood. "We believe Beckham was unable to get out of his crib on his own. For hours, a 17-month-old boy had been in his crib, in his room, a few feet from where his parents lay, waiting for someone to come. No one came until 10 o'clock in the morning. The Franklin County Coroner's Office released the autopsy results in the weeks that followed. Monique Tepe had sustained 9 gunshot wounds. One of them had been fired at close range. Spencer Tepe had sustained 7. 16 gunshot wounds between 2 people, fired inside a locked house in a quiet Columbus neighborhood in the early hours of the morning, while their children slept down the hall. 3 spent 9mm casings recovered at the scene. No firearm left behind, no signs of forced entry, no signs of robbery, nothing taken. No evidence of self-inflicted wounds on either victim. The Columbus police chief would later describe what happened on December 30th, 2025, as a targeted domestic violence-related attack. This was not random. This was not opportunistic. Someone came to that house knowing exactly who was inside, knowing exactly what they intended to do, and left having done it. The only question that remained was who. To understand who investigators eventually identified as their primary suspect, you have to go back almost a decade to a chapter of Monique's life that she had long since closed. In August 2015, Monique married a man named Michael David McKee. She was 28 years old. McKee was her age, born in 1986, the same year as Monique. The marriage was brief. They separated in March of 2016, 7 months after the wedding. Monique filed for divorce in June of 2017. From the outside, the relationship appeared to be a chapter that ended and stayed. Monique moved on. She met Spencer. She built something real and lasting, and entirely different from whatever the marriage to McKee had been. Friends who knew her during and after that period describe a woman who was clear-eyed about what had happened and clear-eyed about what she wanted instead. But those same friends also recall what Monique said about the marriage itself, not dramatically, not with a great deal of detail, but consistently over the years. McKee had been controlling. He had been emotionally abusive. Monique had been afraid of him during the marriage. She had never described him as a stalker. She did not seem to carry the relationship as an ongoing threat. It was something that had happened. It was behind her, or so it appeared. What Monique's friends did not know was what no one around her knew. Because there was no reason to look at what was happening inside McKee's life in the years after the divorce. McKee had become a vascular surgeon. He was, by professional credential, someone whose entire career was built on precision and life-saving, a person trusted with the most critical decisions that can be made about a human body. He was working in Las Vegas, Nevada, operating within one of the country's most competitive medical environments. In 2024, one of his patients filed a medical malpractice lawsuit against him. What happened next was not something his coworkers witnessed directly, because McKee did not tell them. Without informing anyone at his workplace, McKee left Las Vegas. He allowed his Nevada medical license to lapse. The license, the professional credential that had defined his identity and his standing, was simply permitted to expire, quietly, without explanation, while he was already gone. He moved to Illinois. He found work in Rockford, a mid-sized city about 90 miles northwest of Chicago. He started again in a place where no one knew what he had left behind. In Columbus, Ohio, Monique and Spencer Tepe were celebrating their 5th wedding anniversary. They were raising Amelia and Beckham in the house in Weinland Park. Spencer was mentoring young people on weekends. Monique was baking and reading and being present for her children in the way she had always intended. Their life was exactly what they had built it to be. McKee's life was not. And the distance between those two realities, between what he had lost and what she had made, had been growing for years, without anyone on either side knowing what that distance meant. In the weeks before December 30th, 2025, something shifted. On December 6th, 2025, 24 days before Monique and Spencer were found dead, the Tepe family was not home. They had traveled to Indianapolis, Indiana, with a group of friends to attend the Big Ten championship game. It was the kind of trip that filled a weekend. The drive, the game, the hotel, the company of people they enjoyed. Monique and Spencer were there together. The children were not with them. That evening, Monique left the group and returned to their hotel room earlier than the rest. Spencer went back to check on her. He later told a friend that she was upset. He described it as being about something involving her ex-husband. He did not elaborate further, or if he did, the details are not part of what became public record. What is known is this. On the evening of December 6th, 2025, while Monique and Spencer were in Indianapolis. Surveillance cameras positioned in the alley behind their home in the Weinland Park neighborhood of Columbus captured a figure approaching the rear of the property. The figure came through the alley. He approached the house. He stayed for a period of time. Then he left. According to the affidavit later filed by investigators, that figure was Michael McKee. He was not scheduled to work that day. There is no documented explanation for why he was in Columbus, 300 miles from Rockford, Illinois, on a day when he knew or could have known that Monique and Spencer were out of town. He came to their home. He went to the back. He stayed. He left. The house was empty. No one was there to see him. No one inside the house knew it had happened. The cameras in the alley recorded what they recorded, and the recording sat there, unexamined, for weeks. When Monique returned to the hotel room that evening in Indianapolis and told Spencer she was upset about something involving her ex-husband, she was experiencing something she could not fully name or locate. She did not know that while she sat in that hotel room, McKee had already been to her house. She did not know he had walked through the alley behind her home. She did not know that he had been there and gone before she and Spencer had even left Indiana. She felt something. She said something. And then the trip continued, and they came home, and Christmas came, and Amelia wore her pink dress with the ivory trim, and Spencer and Rob played pool in the basement until neither of them wanted to stop. And 24 days after the cameras recorded McKee in the alley behind her house, Monique Tepe was shot 9 times inside it. On January 5th, 2026, 6 days after the bodies were discovered, the Columbus Police Department released surveillance footage to the public. The footage showed a hooded figure walking through the alley behind the Tepe residence. The timestamp placed him there between 2 and 5 in the morning, the window investigators had established as the estimated time of the killings. Police named the figure a person of interest and asked for the public's help in identifying him. Investigators were already further along than that public release suggested. In addition to the alley footage, detectives had identified video from elsewhere in the Weinland Park neighborhood showing a vehicle arriving near the Tepe home shortly before the estimated time of the killings and leaving shortly afterward. The vehicle did not belong to anyone connected to the household. Investigators traced it. The trace led out of Ohio entirely. The vehicle was connected to an address in Rockford, Illinois. That address was connected to a name. The name was Michael David McKee, Monique's ex-husband, the man she had divorced 8 years earlier, the vascular surgeon who had left Las Vegas without telling his co-workers, the man whose Nevada medical license had quietly lapsed while he was already somewhere else. On January 10, 2026, 11 days after Monique and Spencer were found dead, McKee was arrested in Rockford, Illinois. He was taken into custody near his workplace. The location of his arrest was a Chick-fil-A restaurant. A vascular surgeon wanted on suspicion of driving from Illinois to Ohio to kill his ex-wife and her husband was arrested at a fast food restaurant on a Tuesday morning. During the subsequent search of McKee's property, investigators recovered a firearm. The Columbus police chief stated at a January 14th briefing that the weapon was consistent with the firearm believed to have been used in the killings at the Tepe residence. On January 16th, a Franklin County grand jury returned an indictment. McKee was charged with 4 counts of aggravated murder and 1 count of aggravated burglary. He was booked into the James A. Carnes Correctional Center on January 20th. At a court hearing on January 23rd, he entered a plea of not guilty. Criminal proceedings remain ongoing. There is a video that still exists of Monique and Spencer Tepe running together. It is the footage that opens this video of the slow-motion images of 2 people in motion, together before any of this happened. It is the last record of them as they were. Amelia Tepe is 4 years old now. She was 3 when her parents died. She was wearing the pink dress with ivory trim that her Aunt Madeline had made for her from the Christmas fashion show. The last full day the family spent together, when the world she had known ended 3 days later. Madeline still has the pattern. She has said she will make another one for Amelia when she is ready. Beckham Tepe was 17 months old on December 30th, 2025. He was in his crib when the people who would have come to get him in the morning did not come. He is too young to understand what has been taken from him. He will grow into that understanding over years. Both children are now in the care of the family. On January 11th, 2026, visitation was held at Scodinger Northwest in Upper Arlington, followed by a service at the funeral home. That afternoon, a separate gathering was held at Duamisi Restaurant in Columbus. The family estimated that more than 1,000 people came. 1,000 people gathered in Columbus on a January afternoon to say goodbye to a dentist who played DJ at parties and a stay-at-home mother who baked and played board games and loved her children with the kind of steadiness that doesn't make the news until it's gone. Rob, Miss Lee Spencer's brother-in-law, the man who stayed up too late playing pool on Christmas night and didn't get to say goodbye when the Tepes left for home, carries that with him now. The pool game that neither of them wanted to end. In the morning, he was asleep when they left. The goodbye that didn't happen. Spencer's cousin Audrey still remembers what Monique told her about the night they fell in love. A first date that went on until morning. Two people who couldn't take their eyes off each other, who talked until there was nothing left to say and then kept talking anyway. Michael McKee has pleaded not guilty. The trial date has not yet been set. The case file is open. The proceedings are ongoing. Madeline Misla still has the pattern for the pink dress with the ivory trim. She made it for Amelia once. She says she will make it again.